If you're a beginner language learner, you've probably already realized just how many words there are that you need to learn, and you already feel overwhelmed by that thought alone. How is it possible to learn thousands of words when you can't remember the few words you learned last week? Well, the good news is, if you're a beginner, you don't need to know thousands to start speaking the language. In this guide, you'll discover why you should focus on the core words as a beginner, how to get started learning these words, and the easiest way to learn the core 100 words without painful memorization. But first, if you don't yet have access to our language learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. So let's jump in. I'll guide you through our learning system so you get to see exactly what's inside and our members-only study tools. So what are the core words? Core words are a specific set of words that are used the most in daily life. So these are words like I, you, yes, no, this, that, and other things. So the top 100 core words, they make up about 50% of all daily conversation. So if you're learning a language, it's a good idea to start with the core words first. So today we're going to take a look at how you access the core words on our website and the different things that you can do with them to make sure that you study efficiently. So first, to access the core words, you can find them from the vocabulary drop-down menu on the website. So you'll notice that there are two lists here. There is the 100 most common word list and the 2,000 most common word list. So the 100 most common word list is free for all users, so anybody can access this list. If you want to access all of the 2,000 most common words, you'll need to have a paid account. So for now, let's take a look at the 100 most common words and see what we can do here. So when you access the 100 word list, the core 100 word list, you'll get a page that looks like this. So for every entry in the list, you'll have the definition, of course, you'll have the part of speech, you'll have a picture to go along with the word, and you'll have an audio button that you can press to listen to the pronunciation. You'll also have some examples here. So if you need some sample sentences, you can find those here. So let's talk about how we can study these core words to make sure your study session is very efficient. So the first thing you can do, probably the easiest thing that you can do, is to go to this button in the top right that says View Slideshow. So if you press this button, you will get a vocabulary slideshow that includes audio as well. You can make some changes here to the settings. This has play sample sentence audio checked, so if you want to listen to the sample sentence audio, you can choose to do that or turn it off. And loop playback, so that means it will continue to show you words after you have finished the vocabulary. So when you're ready, you can hit the Start Slideshow button and begin. So there are some tools down here you can use to make it faster or slower and so on. So this is probably the easiest way if you just want to start and get going and begin your studies here. So this again is from the top right here in the corner of the screen. If, however, you want to do something else, let's say you want to study only a few of the vocabulary words, you can check these boxes to the side of the vocabulary word, and you can add selected words to, say, the word bank, for example, if you want to study them later, or if you're keeping a list of interesting words, whatever. Or you can add them to a flashcard deck. So if you have a flashcard deck that you're studying, or you want to make a new deck, you can do that here. So these are a couple of different ways that you can study with the core word list. And this is a really, really good idea to do because, again, these are the words that are the most commonly used in everyday conversation. And so these are the words you are going to use the most. So it's a really good idea to make sure that you start with these words. And then once you're finished with the 100 core word list, depending on the account that you have, you can then access the next 100 and the next 100 by clicking on 200, 300, 400, 500, and so on up here at the top of the page. So you'll be able to access everything super easily, and you'll also know how much progress that you've made and how many of those core words you have left to study. So this is a super, super easy to use and great tool to make sure that you are studying efficiently and to make sure that you are studying the words that matter the most. If you're learning a language, start learning the core words first. These are the words that are used almost every day, instead of words like zebra, philosophy, or economics. You get the core 100 words list for free inside our learning system, and you can master them with the audio slideshow. So, if you want to learn the language and get access to these learning tools and our learning system, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to get your free lifetime account. Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alicia, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Let's get to your first question this week. First question this week comes from Khaled. Hi Khaled. Khaled says, you explained the difference between why did you do that and why would you do that? So is why would you do that the same as why will you do that? Thank you. Good question. Yeah. Why would you do that versus why will you do that? So first, the short answer to your question is no. We don't say, why will you do that? Actually, why will you do that is generally not a sentence pattern we use. So to go back a little bit, you said, I initially at first talked about the differences in another video about why did you do that and why would you do that? Yeah. So why did you do that is a question about a past action, right? Something that happened in the past and we want to know the reason for it, right? Why did you do that? And then why would you do that refers to an unreal action or refers to something that we don't understand. So when we use this to talk about past actions, we're like, I can't understand why. Why the reason for this? And we might use why would you do that? Why would you do that? To talk about something that we don't understand. So I think I said something similar to that in a previous video. So let's expand on that. Let's continue this with kind of a future tense question then, right? So you've suggested, why will you do that? But we would not say, why will you do that? Instead, we would say something like, why are you going to do that? And the reason for this goes back to the difference between will and going to in terms of grammar points. So I've said it a lot on this channel, but when we use will and won't, we tend to use them for decisions we make in the moment, yeah? Or decisions we're not 100% sure about. Like when you go to a restaurant for lunch and you're thinking and you're like, I think I'll have the salad. I will have the salad, right? We just decided in that moment, yeah? Or when you're thinking about something way, way, way off in the distant future, you're like, I think there will be flying cars in the future. Like you're not so sure about it, but you kind of want to make a guess about it, right? So let's think about this in terms of this question. Why will you do that versus why are you going to do that? If you ask this question, someone else has told you a plan, right? Like I'm moving to a new city and you want to know why. Why will you do that doesn't make sense, right? Because the other person has decided on their plan. They are moving to the new city. They did not decide in that conversation to move to the new city, right? So will sounds strange to respond with, yeah? Why will you do that? We use this for kind of in-the-moment decisions and for things we're not sure about in the distant future, right? On the other hand, going to is used to talk about those 100% sure decisions, yeah? Why are you going to do that? Sounds much more natural than why will you do that? So for this reason, we would not say, why will you do that here? We'd say, why are you going to do that? Or maybe, why did you decide to do that, right? It's like saying, I understand this is your decision and I just want to know the reason for it. Of course, you could just say, oh, why, as well, if you don't want to think about these kinds of things. So this is the difference between why will you do that and why are you going to do that. I definitely recommend you use why are you going to do that if you find yourself in this situation. So I hope that this answers your question about using the sentence pattern to talk about those future tense situations. Thanks very much for sending it along. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Selena. Hi, Selena. Selena says, what is the difference between famous and popular? Can I use them the same? Great question. They are not the same. You cannot use them the same, but there is some overlap. Let's start by talking about the word famous. So famous as an adjective means something or someone that many, many, many people know about. Millions of people know about, like everyone in your city, everyone in your country, everyone in the world for super famous people, right? So when someone or something is famous, lots of people know about it. This does not mean that it's good or that everybody likes it or that it's bad either. It just means lots of people know about it. Okay, so this can be a place like, oh, that's a very famous landmark in our city, or Beyonce is a very famous singer, right? So we're just saying that many people know about that thing. Popular, on the other hand, refers to someone or something that many people like. So many people think that thing is good or think that person is good. So maybe in your high school, for example, you knew the most popular girl in school, or maybe you know the most popular restaurant in your neighborhood. So something that is popular is something that many people like, but just because it's popular does not mean it is famous, right? So it can be popular in your friend group, right? Many people in your friend group enjoy something. Or maybe many people in your city enjoy this one place that you like to go as well. This is a very popular park or a very popular activity. So something that is popular is not always famous, right? So don't think of them in terms of exactly the same, right? But sometimes something that is famous is also something that is popular. So for example, Taylor Swift is very famous and she's also very popular, right? Many people like her music, they like her work. So sometimes there is an overlap. Sometimes something or someone that is famous is also popular. But something that is popular is not always famous. Like probably the most popular girl in your high school probably is not famous. Maybe, maybe someone out there found like, you know, a famous person from their high school. But just keep in mind there is a little bit of overlap, but they are not always the same. Also, sometimes we like to use famous as a little joke about things that are popular inside our communities. We tend to do this a lot with like food. Like you might say, this is my famous chocolate cake recipe. It doesn't mean that the world knows about the chocolate cake recipe. It just means that many people around you really, really like that chocolate cake. So this is the difference between famous and popular. Thanks for sending this question along. Okay, let's move on to your next question. Next question comes from Zhao. Hi, Zhao. Zhao says, can I say, if you will go, I will go? I want to tell my friend that I'll decide on my plan after them. Is this correct? Okay, great question. Is this correct? So you have, if you will go, I will go. Very, very close. So this is not quite correct. When you use a conditional sentence like this, so if something, then something else, we do not use that future tense verb in the if part of the sentence. So in this sentence, you have in your if part of your sentence, the if clause, if you will go. We do not use will. We do not use any future tense verb in that part of the sentence. We only use that in the main clause, the part that does not have an if. So this sentence should be, if you go, I'll go. So I will is in the main clause only. So this is a very, very common but very easy to fix mistake among learners. Just don't put your will or going to in the if clause when you're making these conditional statements. So if you go, I'll go. Or if you go, then I'm gonna go too. You can use either, but just don't put that in the if clause of your sentence. Let's take a look at another example with a different verb. If you cook dinner, then I'll help you prepare. So in this sentence, we also have that future tense will at the end in the main clause, right? But we don't have it in the first clause, in the if clause here. So we shouldn't say, if you will cook dinner, I will help you prepare. We don't need to use will in both clauses, only in the main clause. So this is a quick bit of grammar review about conditionals. If you want some more information about conditionals, I definitely recommend you do a quick search of our videos for conditionals and if sentence patterns. You will find lots of lessons about this topic. So I hope that answers your question. Thanks for sending it along. Okay, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alicia. Also, there is a link for this in the YouTube description. Please send me your questions to the official question submission page. I will definitely see your question there. If you send it in a YouTube comment or Facebook comment, Instagram, Twitter, wherever else, I probably won't see it. So please send it to the official page where I will definitely see it, and it may become a part of this series forever. Amazing. All right, so if you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at englishclass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alicia, and I will see you again next time. Bye.
Are you struggling to understand conversations in your target language? This video will improve your listening skills using practice dialogues. How do you know if your language skills are improving? Our team of teachers have designed a free quiz to determine your actual learning level. So click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for you. In this lesson, you'll listen to a dialogue with the text. Second, you'll review the key vocabulary, followed by the English translations. And finally, you'll review the dialogue with the text again to master what you learned. First, listen to the dialogue with the text on the screen.
Wow, I've heard that sunny days do not happen in Seattle.
Yeah, sunlight is cherished around here.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yeah, I lived in Seattle for a few years while I went to school. Great city, but the weather can wear on you.
My friend told me that in Seattle there are often months of rain.
Yeah, it isn't hard rain though. The weather just drizzles constantly, day after day.
Now you'll hear the key vocabulary, followed by the English translation.
Drizzle,
Light rain falling in very fine drops.
Around. Situated on every side.
Constant. Continuing without any variation or change.
cherished,
Protected and cared for lovingly.
Sunny. Weather full of sun, bright in appearance or manner.
days,
Periods of 24 hours.
happen,
Take place, occur.
Finally, let's review the dialogue again. See if you can understand more this time.
Wow, I've heard that sunny days do not happen in Seattle.
Yeah, sunlight is cherished around here.
Are you speaking from experience?
Yeah, I lived in Seattle for a few years while I went to school. Great city, but the weather can wear on you.
My friend told me that in Seattle there are often months of rain.
Yeah, it isn't hard rain though. The weather just drizzles constantly, day after day.
This is the end of the lesson. In this lesson, you improved your listening and mastered key vocabulary for everyday life conversation. Don't forget to click the link in the description to get your free assessment and unlock lessons that are right for your learning level. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about 4 modal verbs and how we use them with be plus a verb in the ing form. This can be a very confusing grammar pattern for many people, so let's take a look at a lot of examples and break down what's happening in each sentence. Okay, first let's begin with should. So for this pattern, we'll follow should plus be plus a verb in the ing form. So what does this mean? When we use this grammar structure, it expresses an action or a condition the speaker expects to be true. So remember, we use should a lot in advice or suggestion patterns, right? We have some kind of expectation or some kind of feeling that this is a good thing to do or is not a good thing to do. We use it to express a kind of expectation we have. And the same is true in these kinds of sentences. Let's take a look at the examples. First, it's 3 a.m. You should be sleeping. It's 3 a.m. You should be sleeping. So here we have should be sleeping. So here's my verb in the ing form. This expresses the speaker's expectation that the listener should be, the listener's expected activity is sleep. we use this ing pattern here, this ing form, to mean that that should be a continuing state. So you might also hear people say something like, you should be asleep. That's also correct. But using this pattern is also quite common. Right now, you should be sleeping. It's 3 a.m. This is the expected action at this point in time. Let's look at another example of this. It's 5 o'clock, and his flight landed at 4:30. He should be leaving the airport any minute. So once more, it's 5 o'clock, and his flight landed at 4:30. He should be leaving the airport any minute. Okay, so in this situation, the speaker looks at their watch or the clock and sees it's 5 o'clock now. His flight landed 30 minutes earlier. So my expectation is he will leave very soon. So he should be leaving the airport any minute. So again, we expect that in any moment, at any minute, we are going to see him leaving, in the act of leaving the airport. So we use this grammar pattern to express that. It's 5 o'clock and his flight landed at 4:30. He should be leaving the airport any minute. So again, we're expressing some kind of expectation here. Let's look at one more example. Our test is tomorrow. We should be studying, not partying. So once more, our test is tomorrow. We should be studying, not partying. Okay, in this example, we see should be studying, and then we also have not partying. So this sentence suggests the we, so maybe a group of students in this case, the group of students maybe now they're partying. But one person says we should be studying, not partying. So again, they're expressing some expectation, some kind of desired behavior here. We should be studying in this moment. But in this moment, we're partying, so that's not right. We express that with this kind of sentence. Our test is tomorrow. We should be studying, not partying. So we use should with this grammar pattern to express that expectation, some action or condition the speaker expects or desires to be true. Okay, let's compare this to could. So we'll follow the same grammar pattern here. Could plus be plus a verb in the ing form. However, the meaning does change. Let's look at how. When we use could in this pattern, it expresses an action or a condition the speaker feels is possible, something that is just possible. So you'll see a little bit later when I talk about this, it's a lower chance than may or might. I'm going to talk about may and might later. But when we use could, it's like a neutral expression of possibility. So when we use words like may or might or maybe or perhaps, for example, those express a higher degree, a higher level of chance or possibility. Could is just, we want to say something is just possible. We don't want to express a level of possibility. So let's look at some examples of this. The meeting started 10 minutes ago, but our boss isn't here. He could be running late. So once more, the meeting started 10 minutes ago, but our boss isn't here. He could be running late. This sentence uses could be running. So this expression, to run late, means to be late for something. So you're doing many activities, and it's kind of like you're running, maybe. You can use that to help you remember this expression if you want. But we have it in a progressive form here, this continuous ing form. He could be running late. So that suggests in this moment, he is in the condition of running late. He is late for his appointments. He could be shows it's just a possibility. So we want to share one idea for why the boss is not at the meeting. It's just one idea. We're not expressing possibility with this. We're just expressing this is a possibility. We're not expressing the level. That's a key difference between this and may and might, which I'll talk about later. So he could be running late, and someone else on your team might say, oh yeah, he could be. So just acknowledge to show, yes, that is a possibility, sure. So this just says, this is one idea, one example, one thing that could be true here. Okay, let's look at another example. My girlfriend didn't pick up the phone. She could be cooking. So again, my girlfriend didn't pick up the phone. She could be cooking. So in this case, he tried to call his girlfriend. This person tried to call their girlfriend, and the girlfriend did not pick up the phone. She did not answer. So the speaker is thinking of a reason. Why? Okay, well, she could be cooking. She could be cooking. So in this moment, she is cooking, and that's why she didn't pick up the phone. She could be. So again, could be just expresses one possibility. We're not talking about a level of chance. We're just sharing an idea for a reason for something. So we'll talk about this a little bit more later in the lesson when we talk about may and might. So this is should and could, and please note that you cannot always interchange these verbs that I'm going to discuss a little bit later. For example, if we compare should and could here, we could not, for example, use should in this sentence. He should be running late. That's not going to make any sense because should expresses an expectation or a desire. That is probably not what we want to express here. This one, my girlfriend didn't pick up the phone. She should be cooking dinner. That expresses an expectation on the speaker's part. That sounds a little aggressive, like she should be cooking dinner. So that sounds a little too aggressive here. Hopefully you don't need to use that expression. But please keep in mind, you cannot just swap or interchange these verbs. We'll look at this in a little bit more detail later with some other verbs too. Okay, let's go to the other side of the board. Let's talk about would. Would. So, would is a little bit different from the other ones here because we use it in typically one kind of pattern, a conditional pattern. We do this because we use would when we talk about unreal situations. So, would in this grammar pattern, would plus be plus verb ing, expresses an action planned for an unreal situation. So we're just imagining something. It's those what would you do if situations. So we imagine a situation or we imagine a condition and we express our plan for that situation or condition. It's not true, it's not real, we're just imagining it. So when we want to imagine some continuing state or continuing action, we use would to do that. So what does this look like? Let's take a look. First, your project deadline is tomorrow? I would be working really hard right now if I were you. So again, your project deadline is tomorrow? I would be working really hard right now if I were you. So what's this conditional? My conditional here, you can find the if part here. If I were you, so obviously I am not you, right? So it's not a real or true situation. If I were you, I would be working really hard right now. So I would be working really hard right now in my condition if I were in the same situation as you. So we use would to describe this. A very common error I see in this kind of pattern is learners sometimes use will here. I will be working. Nope, incorrect. You cannot use will in this situation. You should not use should as well. I should be working really hard, or I could be working really hard. You need to use would because it's an unreal situation. That's the key point for this would portion of this lesson. Let's look at another example sentence. You had a fight with your roommate? If I were you, I would be trying to fix the relationship. So once more, you had a fight with your roommate? If I were you, I would be trying to fix the relationship. So here's our pattern. I would be trying. I would be trying. So that means in this moment, if I were you, my current action would be trying to fix the relationship. So again, I'm not you. I want to express this plan. If I were you, in your shoes, this would be my action. I would be trying to fix the relationship. So you might think to yourself like, okay, why do I have to use the progressive form here? Can I say, if I were you, I would try to fix the relationship? Yes, that is also okay. So the difference in those situations, like if I were you, I would try to fix the relationship, and if I were you, I would be trying, it's very small really in this situation. I would try, or I would be trying. So be trying means in this moment, I would be working on doing something to repair the relationship. The other one doesn't have that same feeling of urgency of doing something now. I would try to fix the relationship means kind of generally. Yeah, I would be trying sounds like actively. I would be doing this activity now. So that's the difference. Okay, let's look at one more example. You got a new job? Congrats! I would be celebrating all weekend if I were you. Once more, you got a new job? Congrats! I would be celebrating all weekend if I were you. So this congrats is short for congratulations, congratulations. So you got a good new job, hopefully. I would be celebrating all weekend if I were you. So again, this unreal situation. If I were you, and here's my plan, I would be celebrating all weekend. So maybe it's the weekend now, maybe Friday or something like that. And this person is expressing, if I were you in your situation, this would be my weekend plan. I would be celebrating all weekend if I were you. So a key point to keep in mind about this grammar structure with would, you need to use it in unreal situations like these. This is a very, very common pattern. We see it used with this, if I were you, I would be something, something, ing. This kind of pattern is extremely, extremely common with this. Okay, let's go to the last point for this lesson. This is with may and might. I talked about this a little bit earlier with could. So we use may and might in this grammar pattern to express an action or a condition the speaker feels is possible. So I talked about this with could earlier, yeah? With could, I said that we use could just to express possibility. We're not talking about chance. When we use may or might, however, we are expressing some kind of chance. There's maybe 30% or 50% chance. We can use our voice to show kind of the level that we think is possible. So we use this when we feel a little more sure about something, when we have a pretty good guess about something. So let's take a look at some examples. First, my friend said to meet at this cafe, but he isn't here. He might be waiting inside. So again, my friend said to meet at this cafe, but he isn't here. He might be waiting inside. So in this situation, someone arrives at a cafe to meet their friend, but they look around outside the cafe and they can't find their friend. So they think to themselves, okay, well, I'm at the meeting place, so logically, there's a good chance he's inside. So he might be waiting inside. He might be waiting inside shows us that this is the continuing condition or the continuing action. The other person waiting, that's continuing. So he might be waiting, or you could use may be waiting. May is going to sound more formal in American English. Both are correct though. So he might be waiting inside. So this sounds more natural than could in this sentence because we have a pretty good guess, right? You have a plan to meet someone in this place, but you don't see them. So you have a pretty good guess. There's a pretty good chance of this other thing being true. He might be waiting inside. Okay, let's look at another example. I haven't heard from my friend recently. She might be dealing with a stressful situation at work. I haven't heard from my friend recently. She might be dealing with a stressful situation at work. Okay, so this part is our pattern. She might be dealing. She might be dealing. So to deal with something means to handle something or to address something, to take care of a serious situation or to take care of something. So she might be dealing with a stressful situation at work. So again, we're kind of thinking to ourselves about this current situation. I haven't heard from my friend. We think of a reason for this. Why? Well, she might be dealing with a stressful situation at work. I know she has a stressful job, or maybe she's been very busy recently, so she might be dealing with a stressful situation at work. Again, we could use could in this sentence, but if you want to show a higher level of possibility, you can use might to do that. So you have some background about your friend and you decide, it's probably this. So she might be dealing with a stressful situation at work. This will show you feel you have a pretty good idea of why you haven't heard from her recently. Okay, let's move to our last example for this lesson. My roommate isn't going out much. My roommate isn't going out much. He may be trying to save money. He may be trying to save money. So here's our pattern, may be trying. He may be trying to save money. So again, we are making a guess about a current situation. My roommate isn't going out much. So maybe my roommate usually likes to go out. They go out to eat, they go out to party, whatever it is. But my roommate isn't going out much. He may be trying to save money. So this is one idea. Again, we could use could in this sentence. He could be trying to save money. That's just a neutral expression of possibility. It is also correct. He may be trying to save money, or he might be trying to save money to make it sound a little more casual in American English. So, he may be trying to save money expresses our idea. There's a pretty good idea we have. Maybe it's this. So, he may be trying to save money. Again, we cannot change these modal verbs out for would, for example, or maybe should or could without changing the feeling of the sentence slightly. So please keep in mind these different feelings that the different modal verbs create in our sentences. So this grammar pattern is very useful for making guesses about current situations, like with should, could, and may and might. And it's useful for imagining future situations with would. All right, so there are 4 modal verbs with the be verb ing pattern. I hope that you found something useful in this lesson, and I hope that if you have any questions or comments, you feel free to leave them in the comment section of this video. Also, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed the lesson, and subscribe and share this video if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about how to use by the time with future perfect grammar structures. Let's get started. Okay, the first thing I want to do in this lesson is talk about future perfect tense. I want to review this grammar point. So, we use future perfect tense to express an action or a condition that will continue into the future, or it will end or complete at a point in the future. So future perfect tense relates to future points in time. When we make future perfect tense sentences, we follow this pattern for the basic future perfect structure. We have subject plus will, have, and the past participle form of the verb. This makes a simple, positive, future perfect tense sentence. So, I will have eaten, or she will have slept. These make future perfect sentence structures. When we use won't, we create a negative future perfect tense sentence. So, she won't have eaten, or he won't have slept. So, we use this as the base for our future perfect sentence. To mark a continuing action, however, so a future action continuing into the future, we can do that with this sentence structure. We use subject plus will, have, and then been plus the ing form of the verb. So, for example, she will have been eating, or he will have been sleeping, and so on. To make this structure negative, we put won't before have been. So again, he won't have been sleeping, or she won't have been working. So we use this to mark actions in the future that are continuing, or that we expect will continue. The last structure I want to introduce is the question structure. So with future perfect tense questions, we start with a question word, and it's kind of more common to use questions like these, like how much, or how many, or how long. We use these kinds of question words at the beginning of our question patterns. To continue, we then use will plus our subject in this position, and then have and the past participle verb form to make a basic question, a basic future tense question. Or if we want to make a continuous question, we end it with have been verb-ing. So, how long will he have been something something ing? Or how much will she have something something? So, we can use this pattern to make questions with future perfect tense. So, we're going to see some examples of these later used together with the by the time expression. Okay? So, with this in mind, with this grammar refresher in our mind, let's look at by the time, and then let's look at how we use these grammar points together. So, by the time is the focus expression for this lesson. We use by the time to express that an action or a condition will end, complete, or change by a certain point. The action will end, complete, or change by a certain point. So we can use by the time in the past or in the future. In today's lesson, we are focusing on using this with future expressions, so future perfect tense expressions. So we know that by the time is talking about some action or some condition that is going to finish, right? It's going to end or it's going to change. So what does this look like when we put this together with future perfect tense? Reminder, we use future perfect tense to talk about an action that we expect is going to end at some point in the future or is going to continue into the future and maybe continue after a certain point in the future. So what does this look like with by the time and why is it important? Let's take a look at this timeline here. So we have the past here, present is here, this star, and the future is here in this direction. So for today's grammar, we're looking at this point here. We're focusing on the future. So our first grammar point, future perfect tense, is here in red. Yeah, this wavy line is the future perfect action or condition. This blue point here in the future is the by the time point. So what I hope this shows is that the future perfect action continues, yes? So if this is now, right, this current moment now, future perfect is expressing an action that is going to continue into the future. Maybe it started in the past, or maybe it started in the future, that's okay, depending on the sentence. But we want to note the action is going to continue into the future, and then it may change or stop or complete at this by the time point. So this by the time point marks something of significance, yeah? So depending on what we want to communicate, there can be lots of different things that by the time tells us, okay? So let's look at some examples of these 2 points together and see why they're important and how we can use them to talk about our future plans, okay? So let's look at some examples. Future perfect plus by the time. Here's the first example sentence. By the time I graduate from college, I will have studied in schools for 16 years. By the time I graduate from college, I will have studied in schools for 16 years. So let's break this sentence down. First, we have the by the time expression. So here, by the time I graduate from college. So this point, graduating from college, is our key point in the future. This is a future moment, a future point in time here. Then our future perfect portion is this. I will have studied in schools for 16 years. I will have studied in schools for 16 years. So that means this action in total will be 16 years at this point. So why is this important? Right now, the speaker or the writer is expressing this idea in the present, yeah? So that means the speaker has not graduated from college yet. The speaker is going to graduate in the future, right? So by the time I graduate from college, this will be true. That means this is not true now, right? So maybe now the speaker has studied for only 15 years or 14 years or something like that. They want to mention this point in time, this future point in time, and the total time studied from the beginning until this future point in time. This is what we can do with by the time and future perfect tense together. We can talk about future points in time and their relationship to our past continuing experiences. Okay, so let's look at another example of this. Here, we will have been waiting for 3 hours by the time the plane arrives. So once more, we will have been waiting for 3 hours by the time the plane arrives. Okay, so first you might notice that this sentence swaps or switches the order of the two ideas, right? We have the future perfect part at the beginning of the sentence and the by the time part at the end of the sentence. This is totally fine. It's up to you what you want to emphasize here. In this sentence, we have this waiting at the beginning of the sentence. It has a little more emphasis. So this expresses we will have been waiting for 3 hours. So this is our continuing action, yes? And our by the time condition, or our by the time situation, is here. By the time the plane arrives. So here's the present. The speaker is talking in the present about this future point. By the time the plane arrives, our total waiting time will be 3 hours. So that means maybe now we have been waiting for 1 hour or maybe 90 minutes or something like that. But to talk about this specific point in the future, the total time in the future will be 3 hours. So we use this future perfect tense structure and our by the time structure to communicate this. It's like saying the total time in this future moment will be this 3 hours in this case. Okay? So let's look at one more example sentence, and then I want to talk a little bit about some interesting grammar that we see in these examples. So let's look at this next one. By the time he quits his job, he will have been working for that company for 10 years. Once more, by the time he quits his job, he will have been working for that company for 10 years. Okay, so in this sentence, we have our by the time at the beginning again. So here is our future point. By the time he quits his job. By the time he quits his job. So he has not quit his job yet, but he's planning to. That's what this sentence communicates. He has not quit his job yet, but he's planning to. And here is our future perfect information. He will have been working for that company for 10 years. So this condition will have continued for 10 years. So at this future point in time, the total will be 10 years of this condition. So maybe now it's only 8 years or 9 years. But we want to talk about it in reference or in relation to this future plan by the time he quits his job. Okay? So I hope that this gives you a good understanding of what we can use these 2 points together to do. Let's talk about a couple interesting grammar points now. Maybe you've noticed here in these by the time sections right here in blue, there's kind of interesting grammar, right? So they start with by the time, by the time, by the time, and then we have the subject, right? So I, or the plane, or he, right? Notice then the verb form that's used. So I graduate, the plane arrives, and he quits. So a couple things to notice here. Even though, or although, we're talking about a future point, we do not use will or going to or an ing verb here. We don't use any kind of future tense verb in this position. You can use this instead in the same way you would use a present tense verb, right? The very, very basic present tense verb conjugation. I graduate. It arrives. He quits, right? So we do not need to use a future tense expression here. For example, sometimes I see learners use by the time I will graduate from college, and this is incorrect. Or by the time I'm going to graduate from college, also incorrect. We don't need to use, and we should not use, a will or going to or something like that in this position here. So after your subject here, just use the verb form in the same conjugation you would use for a simple present tense structure. Okay, the second point that I want to talk about is a common question that comes up about by the time. And the question is, can we use when in the same way as we use by the time? And the answer is sometimes. So by the time and when can sometimes be used in the same position to create grammatically correct sentences. However, it can change the feeling of the sentence. So let's look at an example. I'll show you what I mean. Let's look at the second example sentence here. We will have been waiting for 3 hours by the time the plane arrives. If we replace by the time with when, the sentence becomes, we will have been waiting for 3 hours when the plane arrives. So this doesn't have the same kind of feeling of continuing action or some kind of total action, total time waiting in this case. It's sort of more like a report of something that happened, like when the plane arrives and we will have been waiting happened kind of at the same time. It doesn't have that same feeling of something that happened or that continuously happened leading up to this point in time. So let's take a look at another example sentence here. If we change by the time out and use when instead, the sentence becomes, when I graduate from college, I will have studied in schools for 16 years. So this also, we have no communication problem here. We understand what the speaker is saying. When I graduate from college, I will have studied in schools for 16 years. But because we don't have this by the time here, we don't have that same feeling of kind of building up the years of study. We don't have the feeling of lots and lots of work contributed to this one point in time. So the when use kind of gives a feeling of just two things happening at the same time. The by the time expression gives us more of a sense of something that was continuing for a long time, or maybe something that we worked on for a long time. So if you want to communicate that kind of nuance, that kind of feeling, I would recommend you use the by the time pattern instead of the when pattern. Okay, so with that said, let's take a look at our last example sentence for this video. This one uses a question pattern. Okay, so let's look. By the time you move to your new house, how long will you have lived in this city? By the time you move to your new house, how long will you have lived in this city? Okay, so here is our by the time expression. By the time you move to your new house. So this is a future point in time, an expected future point in time. By the time you move to your house, and then we have a question. How long will you have lived in this city? How long will you have lived in this city? So the speaker is asking a question about this period of time. The speaker doesn't know how long this arrow is. So the how long question asks the total duration of time here. So they could say, oh, I will have lived here for 10 years, or I will have lived here for 5 years in this city. So that makes the length of this line 5 years, right? So again, when we're using this by the time structure, we're communicating this idea of something that's kind of a collection of experiences maybe, or it's something that we had gathered over time, like experiences. So we couldn't use when you move to your new house, how long will you have lived in this city, and communicate the same feeling. This by the time kind of shows that there's more than just this one moment, right? It's kind of like a recognition of many different past experiences, if that makes sense. So this is how we can use a question in one of these by the time patterns. Okay, so I hope that this lesson helped you understand how we use by the time together with future perfect tense to talk about future situations, future actions, and their relationship to our continuing actions in the past. As I said earlier, yes, we can use by the time in other tenses, like with past tense, for example, but maybe I can talk about that in a different video. So if you have any questions or comments, or if you want to practice making some example sentences with this information, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Also, if you like this lesson, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody, and welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia, and today we're going to talk about 10 food and drink related idioms. So let's go. Bite off more than one can chew. Okay, the first idiom is bite off more than one can chew. Bite off more than one can chew. This means to try to do too much at your work, at a project, in your schedule. To try to do too much is to bite off more than you can chew. So imagine you're eating something large, like a hamburger, or a piece of pizza, or I don't know, steak, and you bite, this motion, too much to chew. It's too much in your mouth to chew it. You've done too much. It's a mistake. So we say that for your life as well. If you try to do too much, you can't handle it. You can't deal with it. We say, you've bitten off more than you can chew, or I bit off more than I could chew. In a sentence, oh man, I bit off more than I could chew with this project. Couch potato. The next expression is couch potato. A couch potato is someone who never leaves their couch. The image of a couch potato, this is a person, by the way. A person is a couch potato. They lay on the sofa all day. Maybe they're eating potato chips, junk food. They don't really do very much. They're not very responsible. This is the image of a couch potato. They're lazy. Maybe they don't have a job, or maybe they don't shower very often. I don't know. A couch potato is seen as very negative, very lazy. They don't do like very productive things with their lives. So couch potato, negative. You don't want to be a couch potato. Though maybe all of us are a little bit of a couch potato sometimes, like relaxing on the days off that we have. In a sentence, my college roommate was a couch potato. That's true of my ex-boyfriend's roommate. Oh my gosh, that dude was like a professional couch potato. I don't know how he dealt with it. He just like never got sunlight. Like he would just always sit in the basement with his dog, like eating Cheetos all day. And then he would be like, I have stomach problems. And I'm like, duh, you have stomach problems. Like, of course you have stomach problems. You're leading like this horribly unhealthy life. Piece of cake. Piece of cake. Piece of cake means easy. Something that's easy, pleasant, nice, no problems. Just, it's gonna be good. It's a piece of cake. In a sentence, this is easy. What a piece of cake. Take with a grain of salt. The next idiom is take with a grain of salt. Take with a grain of salt means don't take something seriously. This is usually used to talk about something someone has said, like maybe someone who says a lot of dramatic things or is very like angry or upset. You might hear their comments, their negative comments, and someone says, don't worry, take it with a grain of salt. It means don't take it very seriously. It's not that serious. So in a sentence, don't worry too much about what she says. Take it with a grain of salt. Spill the beans. The next expression is spill the beans. Spill the beans means tell a secret. Tell a secret. I guess just because the image is like a can of dried beans and you spill it and it goes everywhere. Like you tell a secret and the secret goes everywhere. Like, oh, it's so shocking and surprising. Blah. Maybe that's the reason. I don't know. But spill the beans means tell a secret. So in a sentence, so spill the beans. What happened last weekend? Chew the fat. The next one is chew the fat. Chew the fat means gossip. It just means chat. It means gossip, talk. This is more common in British English than in American English, I should say. I don't use this expression, but you might hear it more in British English than in American English. Chew the fat means gossip. In a sentence, we just got some drinks and chewed the fat all night. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. In the next expression, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't put all your eggs in one basket means don't invest all your time, don't invest all your money, don't invest all your efforts in only one thing. So the image is if you put all of your eggs, imagine your eggs are your valuable things, maybe your time, your money, your effort. If you put it all in one basket and you drop the basket, everything is destroyed, right? So it's saying this is an expression which means you should diversify. You should try to put your efforts and your time and all that stuff in many different places. It's a good idea to diversify. That's the meaning here. Try to keep a variety of different things where your efforts are being used. So in a sentence, I know this seems like a good idea, but be careful not to put all your eggs in one basket. Hair of the dog that bit you. The next expression is hair of the dog that bit you. The hair of the dog that bit you. This is typically used after a night of drinking. So it's said that if you drink too much and the next day you wake up, you have a hangover, that very uncomfortable, sick feeling because of drinking, because of alcohol. They say, it is said that if you drink the hair of the dog that bit you, it will cure you. You'll feel better. Your hangover will disappear. So the hair of the dog that bit you means alcohol, actually. The hair of the dog means alcohol. Sometimes you hear hair of the dog that bit you, or just hair of the dog means alcohol. That's the meaning of this, alcohol. So in a sentence, a little hair of the dog that bit you will get rid of that hangover. Cry over spilled milk. The next idiom is cry over spilled milk. Cry over spilled milk means getting too upset, means getting very upset over a very small problem. So usually we say, don't cry over spilled milk. So the image here, you spill some milk, it's not a big problem. You can clean it up very easily. There's no reason to cry over spilled milk. So don't get upset over big problems. That's what this idiom means. In a sentence, it's just a small mistake. No use crying over spilled milk. To butter someone up. The next expression is to butter someone up. To butter someone up means to flatter them, to give them lots and lots of compliments. Usually, though, they are insincere compliments. So to butter someone up is to give a lot of false or untrue compliments or unearned compliments because you want the other person to think well of you, to think kindly of you. So this is an insincere complimenter. So in a sentence, he wanted something really bad. He really buttered me up. Okay, that's the end. So those are 10 food and drink related idioms. I hope that those were useful for you. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to let us know in the comment box below this video. Also, please make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel too. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff as well. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Top Words, and we will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody and welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia and today we're going to be talking about 10 social media related verbs. So let's get into it. Post. The first verb is post, post. So to post something means to upload something to the internet, to upload something to a social media website like Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, for example. You can say to post to Twitter, to post to Facebook, to post to Instagram, to post to Snapchat, to post to Tumblr. Uploading your content, uploading text or images to a social media service is posting something, to post something. So, in a sentence, I post pictures on Instagram every day. That's not true. Or I post information on Facebook every week. It's not necessarily true. In this sentence, I post on Instagram once a week or so. Add as a friend. Follow. Okay, the next verb is add as a friend or follow. So we use to add or to follow someone to mean to include them in our friend group or to follow their updates on social media in some way. So on Twitter, for example, we use follow a lot, to follow someone on Twitter. On Facebook, we can say to add someone as a friend or to add someone on Instagram, for example. We can use follow on Instagram as well. Basically, these two words are interchangeable. You can use them in the same way, but I don't know. It's up to you. It's up to you, really. So, in a few sentences, let's see. I follow some really interesting people on Twitter, or I follow a lot of friends on Instagram, or do you follow me on Twitter? Or why didn't you follow me on Facebook? I don't know, something like this. In this sentence, she added me as a friend at the party. Or another sentence, I don't follow him on Twitter. Okay, unfriend. All right, the next verb is unfriend, to unfriend. So to unfriend someone is to remove them from your friends list. So we can unfriend someone, or you might also hear the word defriend someone, to unfriend or to defriend. And let's see, there's one other word that we sometimes use, which is unfollow as well. So we have unfriend, defriend, and unfollow. These all mean to stop receiving updates from someone, to stop receiving news, to stop receiving text or pictures on social media from someone. So an example sentence is, let's see, my ex-boyfriend unfriended me on Facebook, or I unfollowed that really annoying person, or why did you unfollow me? Or in this sentence, he updates way too often. I'm gonna unfriend him. Tweet. The next verb is tweet. To tweet. To tweet. We use the verb tweet. So tweet is actually originally was associated with the sound that birds make, a tweeting sound. But now we use the verb to tweet as well to talk about posting short messages only on Twitter. We don't use tweet for Facebook or for Instagram or other services. Tweet is only for Twitter. So we can use it in a sentence like, I tweet many times a day, or I tweet a few times a week, or he tweets way too often, or you never tweet anything interesting. In this sentence, how often do you tweet? Use a filter. The next verb is use a filter. To use a filter. This is a verb or a phrase that's applicable that we can use on Instagram. So on Instagram, when you upload a picture, you can choose from what are called filters on Instagram. They make your picture look a little bit different. Each filter creates a different view or a different look for your picture. So to use a filter, this is the verb that we use to talk about applying that filter, to talk about that filter on your picture. So in sentences, you could say, I never use a filter on Instagram, or what filter do you like to use on Instagram? Or have you ever used this filter? Or I hate that filter that you used, for example. In this sentence, I think she uses a filter for every post on Instagram. Repost. Next one, the next verb is repost. Repost. To repost. We've talked about the prefix re before. So re means do again. So re plus a verb means do the verb again. So repost, we talked about post at the beginning of this video. Re means do it again. So someone's post, we share that post, to post again. So reposting is something you do on, for example, Facebook or maybe Instagram. You share someone else's content again. So your friend posts a really interesting image on Instagram. There might be an application you can use to repost that image. So, and let's see, example sentences. I never repost anything on Instagram. Or let's see, my friend reposted a really interesting photo. In this sentence, do you know how to repost something on Instagram? Retweet. The next verb is retweet. Retweet. So just as we talked about with repost, we have the same thing here with tweet. Retweet means tweet again. But this verb is only used for Twitter. Twitter can be used to retweet, meaning to share someone else's idea, someone else's tweet. There's a retweet button on Twitter that you can use to share someone else's tweet. So let's see, in example sentences, I hate it when people retweet a lot of things in a row. That's true. Let's see, I only retweet things that I think are interesting, or I try to retweet things that are funny. In this sentence, this tweet was retweeted by a lot of people. That's really hard to say. This tweet was retweeted. This tweet was retweeted by a lot of people. I gotta remember that. I'm gonna use that. Make private. Okay, the next verb is make private. Make private. So to make something private means you lock the account, or the account is not visible. Other people cannot see the account. To make something private, if you want your social media use to be private only to people you know, for example, close friends or close family, or maybe you only want to use, let's see, a social media for work, you can make a private social media account. So example sentences could be like, I decided to make my account private, or I want to make my account private, so only my friends can see. In this sentence, I made my account private. Delete. So the next verb is delete. Delete. So to delete, when you want to delete something from a social media feed, so delete something from Facebook, delete from Instagram, delete from Twitter, There's a delete button for each post, I think. So some people choose to delete something after they've posted it. So examples could be, let's see, I made a typo in a tweet, so I deleted it. Or I was really embarrassed about that photo, so I asked my friend to delete it. Or I accidentally shared something this morning on Facebook, and so I deleted it this afternoon. In this in this sentence, I decided to delete a tweet. Delete a tweet. Share. Next one, the next verb is share. Share. So to share something. I talked about the verbs repost and retweet. So those are used on like Instagram and on Twitter. But to share something, this is one you can use really on any website or in any sort of internet communication. It's not a verb we only use for one specific type of social media. So if you're reading a blog, for example, you like, there are often buttons to share the blog post at the bottom of the post. You can click share and choose the method you would like to use to share that information. So generally, sharing is caring, or rather, people are happy when you share their content. So in sentences, please share my blog post, or please share my tweets, or please share interesting content on Twitter, or please share your favorite recipes with me. Yeah, please. Let's see. In this sentence, thanks so much for sharing my post. Oh, that's the end. So those are 10, what is it? What were we talking about? Okay, so those are 10 social media related verbs. I hope you found some verbs that were useful for you. We can use a lot of these verbs to talk about a lot of different things we do on the internet these days, so I think they're pretty useful. Of course, you can try out these verbs if you like by posting about, sharing, tweeting, or maybe making an Instagram story about this video or other videos if you like. If you have any questions or comments or want to try out a sentence or one of these verbs, please leave us a comment in the section below this video. If you liked the video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff. Thanks for watching this episode of Top Words, and we will see you again soon. Bye! Hi everybody and welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia and today we're going to talk about 10 money-related words. So let's go. Save. The first word is save. Save means to keep your money, to maintain your money, to not spend your money. It means to collect money, hopefully lots of it, I think, but to save money. You want to collect it either in cash or in a bank account. So I'm saving money for a trip to Europe, or I want to save money to buy a boat, or I don't need to save money. That's not true. Or have you saved a lot of money in your life? That's a very weird question. Okay, in this sentence, I need to save some money. Deposit. The next word is deposit, deposit. So deposit means to put money into a bank account. This is one action only, to put money into a bank account. We don't really use deposit for like a piggy bank, a small bank for cash, for coins at home. We only use it for a bank account. So every month you could say, I don't know, like, my employer deposits money into my bank account every month. Or, please deposit the money directly into my bank account. Or, did you deposit my salary yet? Or, I received a deposit from an unknown source. Mysterious. That never happens. Wouldn't that be interesting and potentially very dangerous? Okay, in this sentence, my workplace deposits my paycheck directly into my account. Withdraw. The next word is withdraw, withdraw. So deposit means to put money into an account. To withdraw means to take money out of the account, to take money, to remove money from an account. To remove money from a bank account is to withdraw money, to withdraw funds. You might also hear funds, F-U-N-D-S. Funds to refer to money, to withdraw cash, to withdraw funds. You might hear all of these phrases. They mean the same thing. So some example sentences like, I need to make a withdrawal. By the way, that's the noun form, withdrawal. A withdrawal is the noun form of the word withdraw. I need to make a withdrawal. I'm out of cash. Or I withdrew, past tense, I withdrew way too much money and now I'm in trouble. Or, why did I withdraw my whole life savings? That was a terrible choice. In this sentence, how much did I withdraw yesterday? Transfer. The next word is transfer. Transfer means to move money from one account to another account. This could mean moving money from between two accounts that you own, or it could mean moving money from your account to a different account, somebody else's bank account. But to transfer money, to transfer funds, means to move money from one place to another place, from one account to another account. So, some example sentences. Please transfer me the money for my new donut shop. Or, please don't forget to transfer the money for the new project. Or, did you transfer me my salary for this month? Or, please fill out a transfer slip at the bank. In this sentence, I need to make an international bank transfer. Cash. Okay, so the next word is cash. So cash refers to physical money. So physical money meaning coins or like bills, paper money. Physical money is referred to as cash. So we usually keep our cash in a wallet. There's not a wallet in this room right now, but I'll pretend this is a wallet. But we usually keep cash in something, a physical cash holder. There's a wallet. Okay, that's a weird way to describe that word. Some example sentences with cash. I don't have any cash. Or, will you loan me some cash? What did I do with my cash? Or, I spent all my cash. Or, I don't know what I did with my cash. Or, in this sentence, I've almost run out of cash. Those were all very desperate examples. I don't know why. Let's throw a positive one out there. I have so much cash. That's a lie. That is not true. Okay, donate. The next word is donate. Donate means to give money, usually to charity. It just means to give money without expecting to receive something. So usually we use the word donate for like charities or for, maybe people or organizations which need monetary support. So to donate means to give money without expecting a service or without expecting goods in exchange for the money. So in a sentence, I think donating money is a nice idea, or we should donate lots of money to help people in need, or how much money did you donate last year? Weird question. Why don't you donate to my new project and we'll make something cool? In this sentence, have you ever donated to a charity? Credit card. The next word is credit card. Credit card is a specific kind. It's a very specific kind of card. With a credit card, you have a maximum amount you can spend with this credit card. And it's like taking a loan from a bank a little bit. So, for example, if I have a credit card with a limit, the maximum amount is $1,000, I can spend up to a maximum of $1,000, but then I have to pay that amount back later. And usually with interest, meaning extra money, a percentage back. So anyway, a credit card is like a small, you can think of it like a small loan in a way, but it's a plastic card you can keep in your wallet and make payments with it. So in a sentence, using credit cards can get you into trouble if you're not careful. Or how many credit cards do you have? Or maybe I should apply for a credit card. Or what did I do with my credit card? Or what's the maximum of my credit card? Or, I don't need any more credit cards. These are all very bad, aren't they? These all sound like I don't know how to manage my money, but I'm fine. I paid off my credit card last month. Or, I have so many points on my credit card. That's not that true. I have some points on my credit card. I have to decide what to do with those. That's a good sentence. That is true. I have to decide what to do with the points on my credit card. Maybe I'll take a trip somewhere. In this sentence, I'd like to pay for this with a credit card. Debit card. The next expression is debit card. Okay, so debit card and credit card are two different beasts. They are two different things. A credit card is like a small loan. A debit card, however, is very useful because the debit card connects directly to your bank account. So it's a card, yes, but it means if you use your card, the amount deducts, the amount is withdrawn, which we talked about earlier. The amount is withdrawn from your bank account directly, and you don't have to carry cash around. Just use a debit card to make a direct transaction with your bank. So a debit card is considered very, very useful in some cases. So please be careful. Debit card, direct withdrawal from your account. Credit card is like taking a loan, a small loan for payments. So these are two different strategies for making payments. In sentences, let's see. I don't have a debit card. I had a debit card before. Now I don't. That's true. Debit cards can be useful and convenient ways to pay for things. Or this shop doesn't take debit cards for some strange reason. Or do you have a debit card? Or where did you get your debit card? Or what did I do with my debit card? Why do I always lose things in my example sentences here? I don't know. In this sentence, debit cards are really convenient. Account. All right, the next word is account. Account. So I've used the word account in some example sentences already, but an account is an agreement with a bank that the bank will keep your money for you. So in general, perhaps there are two very common types of accounts, a checking account and a savings account we can think about. A savings account is typically an account you only deposit money into. You put money into the account to save that money, meaning you don't withdraw from the account, really. Then a checking account, at least in American banking systems, a checking account is where you do many different transactions. So if you use a debit card, for example, your debit card is often connected to your checking account. So your checking account is your day-to-day transaction account, and your savings account is the money you don't touch. So, of course, there are other different types of accounts depending on what you would like to do with your money. But an account is your agreement with your bank to keep your money, to maintain your money, and in some cases, get more money if you have a good interest rate on your account. Woo, finance. Okay. Let's see. Sentences. What is the best bank for setting up an account in America? Or how long did it take you to set up an account? Or was it easy to set up an account? Or I think I should set up a bank account. In this sentence, I have a checking account and a savings account. Interest. All right. Okay, I've hinted at the last word a few times. The next word is interest. Interest. So interest is a percentage. Interest is a certain percentage of money that you can receive in a savings account, or it's a certain amount of extra money you must pay in the case of loans and credit cards, for example. So interest is extra money that you either save or have to pay. So in savings accounts, the amount of interest is often determined by the amount of money in your account. So for example, if you have $100 in a bank account and you have a 1% interest rate, it means you get $1 of interest on that $100. If you have compound interest, hooray for you, that means that 1% of interest carries on each year. So every year, you get a little bit more in that savings account. So compound interest means it adds up. It continues to grow. So interest means extra money saved with savings accounts. However, with credit cards and loans and things like that, an interest rate means that's the amount you have to pay for the convenience of getting the loan. So if you have, let's see, like a 1% interest rate on a $100 bill on your credit card, it means you have to pay an extra dollar there. You have to pay an extra dollar for the convenience of using that credit card, for keeping a balance, for making payments on that credit card. So depending on the type of account or the type of card you use, interest can be slightly different. Getting more money or paying more money. In sentences, let's see. Bank accounts with high interest rates are typically good for saving money. Or it's good to have a credit card with a low interest rate. Or I really want to find a savings account with a high interest rate. In this sentence, high interest accounts are good choices for long-term savings. Woo, we're getting financial up in here. All right, so those are 10 money-related words. I hope that those were useful for you, and maybe you can use them as you talk about money and cash and your everyday spending habits. If you have any questions or comments, please let us know in the comment section below this video. If you liked this video, please make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, please check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff. Thanks very much for watching this week, and we will see you again soon. Bye! Money, 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 money. All right. Need more money. Help us, YouTube. Hi everybody and welcome back to Top Words. My name is Alicia and today we're going to talk about 10 patterns to help you level up your speech. Let's go. If I were, I would. The first pattern is if I were, I would. So this is a sentence pattern that you can use to express if you were a different person or if you were in a different situation, what you would do. What would you do if you were in a different situation? So examples, if I were rich, I would buy my parents a house. Or if I were you, I would try to find a new job. So we can use this example sentence, this example pattern to give recommendations to people. Like if I were you, I would. That's a very common pattern. But in general, this sort of grammar is used to show that the situation is not the current situation, but if it were the current situation, this is what I would do. So this can be a very useful pattern for talking about future potential. If I were, I would. In this example sentence, if I were you, I would look for a new apartment. I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have, I should not have something, something, something. So this is usually used to express regret, to express unhappiness, to express a negative feeling about a past action which you did. In this case, in my example, I have I shouldn't have, blah, blah, blah. But of course, you can change the subject. You shouldn't have, they shouldn't have. So shouldn't have means it's showing that, in your opinion, this past action should not have happened. It would be better, it would have been better if that action had not happened. So let's talk about some examples. Like I shouldn't have, I shouldn't have spent so much money last month, or I shouldn't have stayed up so late last night, or I shouldn't have procrastinated so much on my project, or to change the subject a little bit, you shouldn't have gone out drinking with your friends, or you shouldn't have talk to that girl, or they shouldn't have bought that apartment, it's too expensive for them, or oh my gosh, we shouldn't have invited so many people to this barbecue. So there are a lot of ways that we can use these examples, this pattern, to express regret. But you'll notice in each example, or hopefully in each example sentence that I just talked about, I said, shouldn't have, plus I've used the past participle form of the verb. I shouldn't have gone to that party. We shouldn't have invited so many people. It's the past participle form here. Shouldn't have, yeah? Shouldn't have, blah, blah, blah. Your verb should be in the past participle form there. So if you're practicing present perfect tense, for example, it's the same verb form. So shouldn't have plus an action which you regret or which you think another person should regret. So in one more example sentence, I shouldn't have had so much to drink last night. So many of us are familiar with that feeling. Okay. I would have, but I had to. The next pattern expresses a desire, a past desire to do something, but an inability to do that thing. So, for example, I would have helped you with your homework, but I was working at the office. Or I would have taken the dog for a walk, but I fell asleep. Or to change the subject line, well, he would have taken you out for dinner, but he had to take care of his kids, for example. Or They would have given me money for my project, but they had to use it for an emergency situation, for example. So a desire to do one thing, they would have, he would have, you would have, is at the beginning of this sentence, but some other thing had to happen. There's the nuance of responsibility here at the end of the sentence. Wanted to do something, could not because reason. So this is the pattern here that's happening in this sentence. To give one more example, I would have joined you for pizza, but I had to study. Where were you? You can use this with friends and family members. I would be very careful using this with your coworkers and colleagues in business relationships. But this is very good. A past tense question. If you are expecting someone to be at a certain place and they are not there, the next time you see that person, you can ask them this question. So, for example, where were you last night? Where were you last week? Where were you at the meeting? Where were you at the office? I didn't see you, for example. So you can use this past tense phrase like, where were you last night? I thought I was going to see you. Or where were you last week? I thought you were coming to the barbecue. This is a question that's asking for information from the listener. Like, where were you? It means you expected to see the other person, but you didn't meet them really. So you can use this, I suppose, at like a large like networking event, for example. Like, where were you at the networking event? I didn't see you there. But you're asking for some information about where that person was, meaning you expected to see them, you didn't see them, and you want a reason for that. So be careful. This can sound a little bit aggressive, especially in like relationship situations, like romantic relationship situations. If you say like, where were you last night? It sounds really like aggressive. But that's a very natural expression to use. If you're angry or upset or you want to know where another person was, where were you last night is a very clear and is the correct sentence, the correct question to use. So, one more example. Where were you on Saturday night? We thought we were going to see you. I might. So this may seem like a very obvious pattern. But when you're talking about your future plans, it's best if you're not 100% sure, if you're going, I don't know, should I use will? Should I use going to? If you haven't decided yet, and you don't want to use will and you don't want to use going to, use might. It's a very simple and easy to use pattern, but I think many people forget this. Just say, I might go to the party later. I might go for a drink after work. I might meet some friends this weekend. He might take me on a date this Sunday. She might go to the beach with her friends on the weekend. They might give me a new dog. Whatever. Anyway, so might expresses maybe. Might expresses that we don't know for sure. It's a very simple and very obvious phrase, but a lot of people forget it, like I said. So try to use I might. Of course, we can use the negative form here too. I might not. You might not. He might not. So this expresses negative possibility. So a decreased chance of something happening. Like they might not come to the movies with us later, or my boss might not give me a raise, or I might not make dinner tonight. So these express a decreased level of possibility, might not. But to express perhaps a chance of something happening, please use might. Very simple sentence, but just a reminder. This is a very natural way to express plans you are not sure about. One more example. I might go home after work. I don't feel so good. I thought. The next one is I thought. I thought. Again, it seems so simple, but a lot of people, I think, forget to conjugate the verb think into past tense. So sometimes people will say, I think, but they're talking about a past tense idea, a past tense thought. In those cases, you need to use the past tense, I thought, blah, blah, blah. I thought the party was on Saturday. I thought we were going to the beach today. I thought you were leaving at 9:30. To change the subject of the sentence, he thought we were going out for dinner tonight. Or my boss thought I was coming to the meeting. Or they thought I had a nice house, but I don't. So using thought in the past tense shows a past idea which is no longer true. right? So showing that, it implies that you have changed, so using past tense here implies that the situation has changed. Your knowledge has changed. Like, I thought you were coming over later. I thought you were coming over tonight, for example. Shows there's been some change in the information. So please use the past tense here. It can communicate a lot very, very effectively. To give one more example sentence, I thought the barbecue was on Saturday, not Sunday. I was ing when. I was blah, 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 ing when. All right, this is a pattern that you can use to talk about an action that is continuing, and then something happens here, and this initial action stops. So, for example, I was shopping when I ran into an old friend, or I was making a video for this YouTube channel when my phone rang. So something, a continuing action, we use the progressive form of the verb, this ing form. I was making a video, I was shopping, that ing form of the verb. The action is continuing when. So when shows that the action stops. When I got a phone call. When the camera suddenly shut off, for example. So there's some change or some new thing happening here. When marks that change. When marks when that occurs. So for example, I was making this video when my phone gave me notification. That's true right now. Okay, another example, like I was making dinner when an earthquake hit. Or he was studying for his test when his dog ran into the room. Or another example, let's see, we were jogging when we saw a bear. That could happen, I guess. But at any rate, there's a continuing action, something stops, marked by when, and some new information, something new is occurring. This is an interesting pattern you can use to describe interruptions. Okay, one more example. I was out shopping when I ran into a friend. What are you up to on? I think we've spoken about this before. I think we've talked about this in another video, perhaps. I don't know. Anyway, it's an invitation phrase. What are you up to on day? What are you up to on Saturday? What are you up to on Friday night? What are you up to on Sunday morning? What are you up to sounds very casual and friendly. What are you up to sounds like we have a close relationship. If you want to sound a little bit closer to your friends, try using what are you up to. In this example, I've used what are you up to on a day. Saturday night, Friday evening, Sunday morning. But if you remove on, what are you up to tonight? What are you up to tomorrow? What are you up to this weekend? You can change this around a little bit. Usually we use this expression only for short-term plans, like within about a week or maybe 2 weeks. What are you up to next week? If you say, what are you up to next month? It sounds kind of strange. What are you up to sounds like just a very short-term thing. So try using this to make plans with your friends and maybe your family members. It's maybe not so good for your coworkers or your colleagues. You could try if you have a close relationship with them, but generally this is a good expression for friends. Okay, one more example sentence. What are you up to on Friday night? Want to grab dinner? How did you... The next expression is how did you blah, blah, blah. So this is an expression you can use when you want someone to teach you something. So for example, you're using the computer at work. Your coworker does something you don't know how to do. You see your coworker do something amazing or something new, and you want to know that skill. What did your coworker do? If you want your coworker to teach you that thing, use this expression. How did you do that? How did you do that? Maybe you don't know how to describe it, but how did you do that? I just saw you do something, something, something. How did you do that? So, how did you do that means the action you just did. Please teach me. That's what this expression means. How did you do that? How did you do that? So we can use this for a magician, for example. Like, how did he do that? How did she do that? We could use it here. Or you can be more specific, like, how did you create that effect in that software? Or how did you make this dish? It's delicious. Or how did you book your tickets for your next vacation? How did you find your hairdresser? I don't know. If you want someone to teach you information, use the expression, how did you? Past tense did. How did you do something? Okay, in one more example, how did you create that digital effect? Can you show me? How much do I owe you for? Another good one that's very good, I think, for maintaining good relationships. If you go out for drinks, for dinner, for food, maybe a movie, an event, a festival, whatever, with your friends, and everybody needs to pay money. Everybody needs to give money for the food, for whatever activity you've done, and you would like to confirm how much money to pay, use this expression. The expression is, how much do I owe you for blah, blah, blah? Or, how much do I owe for blah, blah, blah? So, if you're at dinner, how much do I owe you for dinner? How much do I owe you for drinks? How much do I owe you for movie tickets? How much do I owe you for our skydiving trip? What? So, how much do I owe for the activity name here? So this shows you want to pay, you just need to know how much. So this can be a very good phrase to make sure you keep good relationships with people you are doing activities with. One more sentence. How much do I owe you for my coffee? So that's the end. Those are 10 patterns to help you level up your speech. These are just a few examples that I've noticed. So I hope that these are useful for you. If you have any questions or comments, please be sure to let us know in the description. Please be sure to like this video, give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't subscribed to us already. Thanks very much for watching. Check us out at EnglishClass101.com for more good stuff, and we will see you again soon. Bye! If I were a veterinarian, I would try to heal all the dogs. What? Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Know Your Verbs. My name is Alicia, and in this lesson, we're going to talk about the verb swing. Let's get started. Let's begin with the basic definition of the verb swing. The basic definition is to move from side to side or backwards and forwards, usually from a point. Examples. The door suddenly swung open. My laundry is swinging in the breeze. Now let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, swing, swings. Past, swung. Past participle, swung. Progressive, swinging. Now let's take a look at some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning is to move something, to try and hit something. So the movement happens in order to try and hit something else. Examples. He swung his golf club at the ball. A drunk person at the bar swung at my brother. So first, let's look at this golf example sentence. So he swung his golf club at the ball. This refers to the swinging motion that is used to swing a golf club. So the piece of equipment used when playing golf is called a golf club. So this motion, this swinging motion is used to try to hit the ball. So when we describe this, we can say he swung his club at the ball. In other words, he swung his club in order to try and hit the ball. So we make this shorter by saying he swung his club at the ball. In cases like this, too, where it's very clear from the situation, like a golf situation, we sometimes drop the object that is being swung. So he swung at the golf ball, for example. That's a pretty clear situation. You don't always need to describe the object or the thing that is being moved. We see an example of this in the second example sentence. A drunk guy at the bar swung at my brother. So in this case, swung at my brother doesn't include like the object that was moving. In cases like these, we have to guess from the situation what the object is or what is being moved. In this case, however, this is a great example of when to take a swing at someone or to swing at someone means to try to punch someone. So the object here is someone's arm trying to punch my brother in this case. So you might hear cases where there doesn't seem to be an object, a clear object described in the sentence that's actually moving. but you can kind of guess based on context. You can kind of guess based on the situation. So here it's a drunk person in a bar who swung at my brother. This probably means he tried to start a fight or tried to swing his arm to punch my brother. Let's move on to the next additional meaning. The next additional meaning is to make arrangements for something or to persuade people. Let's look at some examples. Do you think you can swing a 3 p.m. meeting? They swung a surprising number of voters. So in the first example sentence, do you think you can swing a 3 p.m. meeting means, do you think it's possible to arrange a 3 p.m. meeting? When we use swing, it sounds like it might be difficult to make those arrangements, but perhaps through making some changes or like telling some people a few different stories, for example, you might be able to make a change in the situation. So swing can sometimes have a little bit of like a negative nuance, a very small negative nuance in this case. Like, I can make some changes like to accommodate your request. I can make some arrangements. So you might make arrangements at the expense of someone else in this case. So do you think you can swing a 3 p.m. meeting is like, do you think you could change your schedule a little bit to suit my schedule? That's sort of what this sounds like. So to swing could mean a little bit of like changing in some way that might not necessarily be positive. In the second example sentence, the arrangements are more about persuading people. So we commonly see the verb swing used in politics, actually. So when we swing someone, it means we persuaded someone, like we were able to arrange the situation to influence a person. So to swing a voter means to persuade a voter to change his or her opinion. So you've like arranged a situation, and through that arrangement, you've convinced someone or you've persuaded someone to do something. So the sentence, they swung a surprising number of voters, means they were able to influence a surprising number of people through the situation that they created. So this is kind of an interesting political word, to swing voters. It's like to change opinions by persuading, making special arrangements to persuade people. Let's continue on to the next additional meaning. The next additional meaning is to change from one condition to another. Examples. His moods swing quickly when he's tired. The team's attitude swung from disappointment to happiness when they heard the news. So this use of swing commonly refers to emotions. This use of swing commonly refers to emotions, changes in emotions. In the first example sentence, his moods swing quickly when he's tired. Moods refers to the way a person feels, happy, sad, angry, disappointed. So when someone's moods swing quickly, it means they change their mood. It means like they change their feeling, their emotion quickly. So we use swing here to show that it's like a back and forth motion, much like the original meaning of the verb swing. So when we say that someone's moods swing, or like their moods swing quickly, it means like they go from happy to angry very quickly, especially when tired, as in this case. So it's usually between like two states, two conditions. We see this in the second example sentence too. The team's attitude swung from disappointment to happiness when they heard the news. So in this case, it's moving in one direction. They don't swing back to disappointment, but they swung their mood. It means there was a change in their condition. So it sounds like kind of there's maybe two sides, two sorts of like opposite ends you can kind of imagine. And the condition changes across like those 2 points, those two conditions, those two statuses. So when you hear swing used in this way, it commonly refers to changes in emotional condition. Okay, so let's move on to some variations then. The first variation is to swing around. To swing around means to turn around very quickly. Some examples. He swung around when he heard a noise in the hall. She swung around and headed toward the exit. So to swing around is, I've used it in past tense here, swung around, means to quickly turn around. So it's not so much like this swinging motion we've talked about thus far in the lesson, Rather, to swing around is like to quickly turn 180 degrees and face the opposite direction. In the first example sentence, he swung around when he heard a noise in the hall. It means he turned around quickly when he heard a noise in the hall. So swung around is a quicker, easier way to say he turned around quickly. He swung around when he heard a noise in the hall. In the second example sentence, she swung around and headed for the exit. To head for an exit means to move in the direction of an exit. So she swung around means she quickly turned around and began moving toward the exit. So when you want to describe someone turning quickly, you can use to swing around to do that. The next variation is to swing by a location. This means to quickly stop at a place. Examples. I'm going to swing by the store on the way home. She swung by the bar after work. So when we use swing by, it means we're making a quick stop somewhere, like we're not planning on staying somewhere long. We often use this when we are running errands. To run errands means to go to a few different places to take care of small tasks. For example, going to the supermarket, to the post office, to the gym, I don't know, other places that people might need to go to for small periods of time. So we use swing by to mean make a quick stop, like I'm going to swing by the store. Store means supermarket, by the way. We don't say supermarket usually, we say store. So when we say I'm going to swing by the store on my way home, it's like I'm going to pick up a few small things at the store very quickly on my way home. The second example sentence, she swung by the bar after work, sounds like she made a quick stop at the bar after work. So like maybe she went to the bar, she had one drink, and then headed home. So to swing by means just to make a quick, short stop somewhere. This is very common. This was used a lot in my house when I was growing up. My parents used it a lot to communicate their needs, what we needed from the store, what we needed done, like I'm going to swing by the store, do you need anything? This was a very common expression in my house growing up. So I hope it's useful for you too. Okay, we'll finish there. So those are hopefully a few new ways for you to use the verb swing. If you have any questions or comments or want to practice making an example sentence, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Of course, if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel if you have not already, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you in your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again next time. Bye-bye. Swing. 1 second. This isn't, I don't even know, you didn't see. Now you can see, but this is me swinging, I guess. Hi everybody, welcome back to Know Your Verbs. My name is Alicia, and in this episode, we're going to talk about the verb back. Let's get started. Let's begin with the basic definition of the verb back. The basic definition is to support something or someone with words or with resources. Examples. We're backing the new president with a big donation. The horse I backed lost the race. Now let's look at the conjugations for this verb. Present, back, backs. Past, backed. Past participle, backed. Progressive, backing. Now let's talk about some additional meanings for this verb. The first additional meaning is to cause to move backward. Examples. He backed the car into the space. Let's back out of the room. So this use of back often takes a preposition like in or on or out of, into. So we see a few different prepositions that can be used with this, and the preposition shows us the direction of the backing motion. So like to back into something means the rear of something enters that space or that room first. The opposite, to back out of something, refers to leaving a space by moving in a backward motion. So to back in, to back out, to back onto refers to moving in reverse on top of something. So think of back plus the preposition as showing you the way that the backward motion is moving, or like the relationship of the backward motion to another space or to another object. So the first example sentence, he backed the car into the space, shows us that he, in this situation, moved a car into a parking space, but did it backwards, meaning the rear of the car moved into the space first. He didn't move the car into the space with the front of the car going first. It was the back of the car. So we use back, the verb back, to explain this motion. In the second example sentence, let's back out of the room, it refers to us, like people in this case, moving away from a room, moving out of a room, but we're going with our backs to the exit here. So we're not facing the exit and moving to the exit. We are backing out, meaning like we're using our bodies and the backs of our bodies are moving in the direction we're traveling. So we use to back to refer to this back-facing motion. The second additional meaning is to use for the rear part of something. Examples. We backed the studio walls with sound dampening material. His coat is backed with a soft lining. These examples show us that there's something being used on the rear part of something. So this tends to be used for like construction or for talking about like something you put together. Like in this case, we have walls or we have clothing, for example. You might hear this like for buildings, things that you're making or assembling. The first example shows us the walls were backed with a sound dampening material. That means sound dampening material was attached to the rear of the wall. So something behind the wall, they were backed with that, like we have in here. Is this backed with sound dampening material?
That is sound dampening
This
material.
is sound dampening material. Is that the same as this? So like this is behind this wall? So this is sound dampening material that we don't really use anymore, but that we could back a wall with this. This already has sound dampening material, so if you need extra sound dampening material, you can back a wall with this. What would happen if I talk like this? That's a bonus in this episode of Know Your Verbs, a lesson in sound. Hooray! Sound backing material, which we need. So we backed the studio walls with sound dampening material. In the second example sentence, his coat is backed with a soft lining. It means the inside of the coat. So like you can think of like rear of a coat, kind of not like the part behind you when you're wearing the coat, but like the inside, the reverse side of the coat, the part we don't see. So that part has a soft lining. So the coat is backed with a soft lining. That means there's a soft material on the reverse side. Okay. Let's move along to the next additional meaning for the verb back. The next additional meaning is to have the rear part of a location facing something else. Examples. The resort backs the beach. Their cabin backs the forest. So with this use of back, we have two locations. So in these example sentences, it's a house or a cabin or some kind of building. And then the back of that building looks over, or the back of that building faces a different kind of place. So in the first example sentence, their house backs the beach. It means the house is positioned so the back of the house, the rear of the house, faces a beach. In the second example sentence about a cabin, so someone's cabin, again, backs the forest. So that means the rear side of the cabin faces the forest. You might hear prepositions like backs onto with this one as well. But to back a location means the rear side of something faces something else. Let's move along to some variations with this verb. The first variation is to back off, to back off. To back off means like to relieve aggression or to relieve tension, like to kind of step away from a situation, to walk away. So like to decrease the level of kind of angry enthusiasm. Examples. Tell that guy to back off. Back off of my project. I'm still working on it. So back off is kind of like relax or just go away for a minute. Stop putting so much pressure on the situation. In the first example sentence, tell that guy to back off, it means tell that guy over there, like, stop being so upset or stop being so angry, or you don't need to be so aggressive. Like there's a lot of tension or pressure in the situation. It's not necessary. So we would use this kind of expression usually when someone is angry and aggressively approaching someone else. Tell that guy to back off. So someone's temper is kind of high, perhaps. In the second example sentence, it's a pressure situation. Back off of my project. I'm still working on it. So that means someone is applying lots of pressure, like maybe lots of criticism or sharing a lot of opinions. And the person who made the project is saying, back off. Like, I need you to not put so much pressure on me. Like, walk away, please, because I'm still working on this. So this is an expression that's used to mean stop putting so much pressure or aggression in my direction. Okay, the second variation for this verb is to back someone up, to back someone up. To back someone up means to support someone verbally. Examples. My boss backed me up at the meeting. Will you back me up if I make a complaint? So to back someone up is like to agree with someone or to show your support for someone, usually because they're sharing an opinion, they're sharing a story, and you want to show your support for that person, so you agree with them, or you give more evidence to support their story, or you share something to help their story be more persuasive. So to back someone up means like to show support for someone, usually with your words, so verbally. To back someone up doesn't necessarily mean like with money, like we saw with the original use of to back, like to back someone financially. But to back someone up refers to verbal support for that person. Keep in mind, though, to back up, or to be a backup is different from backing someone up. So to back someone up is different from to be a backup. Please be careful. To be a backup means to be a substitute in case something happens. But to back someone up means to support them, to show verbal support for a person. So please be careful of those two quite different expressions. Okay, so those are a few new ways, I hope, for you to use the verb back. If you have any questions or comments or want to practice making a sentence with this verb, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Of course, don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other good ways to practice your English. Thanks very much for watching this episode of Know Your Verbs, and we'll see you again soon. Bye! Access your free language gifts right now, before they expire. First, the How to Talk About Your Feelings PDF ebook. You'll learn over 90 words and phrases for feelings with this bonus PDF picture ebook. Download and review it on any device. Second, the Correcting Mistakes Conversation Cheat Sheet. Learn how to correct others and say, "No, you're wrong," and other fun, useful sentence patterns. Download this PDF cheat sheet for free. Third, what are the hardest words to pronounce? This bonus lesson reveals the 10 words that every single beginner struggles with. Master them and you'll speak like a pro. Fourth, can you talk about the economy in your target language? Of course, it's a struggle. But if you want to speak like a functioning and capable adult in your target language, this bonus lesson is for you. Learn how to say profit, demand, taxes, and much more. Fifth, what are you afraid of? Public speaking, spiders, projection? With the new Phrases to Express Your Fears lesson, you'll be able to talk about what you're afraid of in your target language. And sixth, looking for a new language learning app? With the innovative language learning app, you learn language fast through conversations. And you start speaking in minutes because our conversation lessons are just 3 to 15 minutes long. Download innovative language learning for free for the Android, iPhone, and iPad. To get your gifts and language learning resources, click the link in the description below. Download them right now before they expire. Hey everyone, welcome to the Monthly Review, the monthly show on language learning, where you discover new learning strategies, motivational tips, study tools, and resources. By the way, all the lessons and bonuses you're about to see can be downloaded for free on our website. So click the link in the description right now to sign up for your free lifetime account. Okay, today's topic is how to achieve your language goals when your motivation is low. Are you terrible at staying motivated with language learning? Good, because then you'll love today's episode. If you want to learn how to stay motivated or regain motivation if you've lost it, stick around. There are 5 simple ways to stay motivated and keep going. And one of them you'll probably hate, but you need to hear it anyway. But first, if you're looking for new free language resources and downloads, here are this month's new lessons and resources. Be sure to download these now before we take them down in a few days. First, the How to Talk About Your Feelings PDF ebook. You'll learn over 90 words and phrases for feelings with this bonus PDF picture ebook. Download and review it on any device. And second, the Correcting Mistakes Conversation Cheat Sheet. Learn how to correct others and say, "No, you're wrong," and other fun, useful sentence patterns. Download this PDF cheat sheet for free. To get your free resources, click the link in the description below right now. They're yours to keep forever. How to achieve your language goals when your motivation is low. So, some time ago, you made the decision to learn a new language. You took the first step. You started, which is super important. But the second half of the battle is to keep going, which is where most people fall off. And for that, you need motivation. So how do you stay motivated or regain motivation if you've lost it? There are 5 simple ways to stay motivated and keep going. 1. Find a way to enjoy learning. And this one is important because if you want to reach a goal like learning a language, what will get you there? Is it A, your desire to reach this goal, or B, the process, the actual learning? You can want and dream about the goal all you want, but it's the learning, not the wanting, that actually gets you speaking the language. So you must actually like the learning process, or at least not hate it. So what can you do here? If you're one of the few people that genuinely love learning regardless of how, you've hit the jackpot and you'll be fine. But if you're like most people who've had a rocky relationship with trying to learn things, you should find what works for you. If you prefer to listen to audio lessons and podcasts, then go with that. If you prefer reading, check out our extensive reading books. And if you enjoy writing things out by hand, check out our free language worksheets. The only right answer here is find what you like, but make sure it actually works. Because you may like watching YouTube videos, you may like doing vocabulary games on your phone, but if you can barely speak the language after weeks and months, then you're not actually learning anything and it doesn't work. All right, next up, 2. Learn with an actual teacher. Whether with our live group classes, our Premium Plus teacher, or your own teacher. Having that human interaction and someone to answer to is automatically more motivating. Just think, if you do language lessons on Sundays at 8 p.m., if it's between A, a teacher, and B, an app on your phone, you'd definitely be more motivated to make it to the lesson with the actual teacher. There's an actual person waiting for you who will talk to you, ask you questions, and give you feedback. And the app that's sitting on your phone, somewhere on the 3rd or 4th screen, it's not exactly going to get you motivated. If it did, you'd be fluent already. But you're not, and here we are. Number 3, you must see your progress. This is the next best way to stay motivated. Imagine going to the gym for a few weeks, and now you're finally starting to see some muscle in the mirror. You see results, and that's pretty motivating, right? Those results make you want to keep on going because you feel like you're getting better. And because you're getting better, it's kind of becoming fun. But how do you apply that to language learning? Because you can't really see language muscles. The good news is there are a few things you can do here. A, if you're learning with a teacher, ask for feedback. If a native speaker tells you you've improved, how happy would you be to hear that? B, next, track your progress with our dashboard on the site. Remember, the one thing you can control with language is the time you put in. And language learning is a function of time. The more time you put in, the better you get. If you're ever wondering why you're not improving, well, the easy answer is usually you're not putting in enough time. And our learning system will track that for you. When you finish a lesson, the dashboard tracks that and shows you how far you've come. The hours studied, the lessons completed, how close you are to finishing the beginner level, and leveling up to intermediate level. These are just 2 ways you can see your progress grow. Fourth, have something to lose. Now, this method is unusual, and most people will not do it, but it works really well for the few that do. The fact is, no one likes losing, and avoiding loss is such a powerful motivator that it's well known in psychology. Studies show that the amount of pain you feel over losing $10 is much greater than the positive feelings you get over finding $10. So how do you apply this to language? You can use this loss aversion as motivation. Just invest in a language learning textbook or a learning program or a class. The point is, if you invest, it means you care enough about your goals to invest. You don't want to waste your investment, and as such, you're emotionally committed to this goal. You'll value and use the resource a lot more, unlike the free apps you downloaded and forgot about. Now, you'd think that this last tip would be the one that people would hate to hear, but it's not. It's the fifth and last one. 5, keep on going. The tricky thing with motivation is you can wish for it, you can want it all you want, you can watch videos about it, but true motivation comes after taking action, not before, which is why all of the tips we mentioned involve some sort of action. So if you don't take action and learn, the motivation won't come. So stick with the language and keep going for 2 reasons. First, eventually you'll see results, which make it more fun and inspires more action. And second, if you stick with the language long enough, the language becomes a part of your identity, which is exactly what you want. At that point, you don't have to motivate yourself because it's natural. You just do it because it's who you are. So take action first, and the motivation will follow. Thank you for watching this episode of Monthly Review. Next time, we'll talk about the satisfaction of reaching goals. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. And if you're ready to finally learn language the fast, fun, and easy way, and start speaking from your very first lesson, get our complete learning program. Sign up for your free lifetime account right now. Click the link in the description. See you next time. Bye! Great work! Here's a reward. Speed up your language learning with our PDF lessons. Get all of our best PDF cheat sheets and ebooks for free. Just click the link in the description.